This is Community Unity Now, the D-Tycoon Show. This is Bill Morton, President of the Rogers Park Chamber of Commerce, and I am Trudy Leong, Administrator of the Rogers Park Chamber of Commerce. Our very special guest today is Russell Norman. He's a filmmaker and artist, DJ, musical artist. He does it all. Welcome, Russell.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Our pleasure.
Well, Russell, you're also a content creator, and
Yes.
then you were at the DNC as well.
Yes, I was at the DNC. I was covering some different things, including some people who had definitely a lot to say. They wanted to have their voices heard, so I was doing that. I worked in conjunction with some of the actual representatives. So it was an interesting affair, to say the least. Yeah.
Did you have a good time?
Yeah, I did. I was with some good people, and it was good. Yeah, I had a good time. Mm-hmm.
Did you get some good interviews? Are you able to tell us some of the people that you interviewed?
Well, I interviewed a lady named Zoe Lee, and she happened to have her family's business and property taken away from her, the Sandpiper Lounge. Mm-hmm. And she was on the Breakfast Club recently, that popular radio show, and she was telling me about that. She was telling me about the those laws. What is those laws when they can take away eminent domain?
Yes.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
the eminent domain laws, and she was actually discussing how she thinks Illinois will flip red because of the constant incompetence from the Democratic Party, basically, in her words, so to speak. So she was just telling me about those topics.
So I've heard about the Sandpiper Lounge. How long has that been around?
I think it might have been since the late 70s her family had it. It might have been in their family for 50-something years, 50 or 60 years. But
And what neighborhood is that in? What area?
I'm not sure. Maybe it's on 63rd, actually.
So are we talking about eminent domain due to the presidential library?
Actually, she didn't get into why they took it from her. Mm-hmm. She just, of course, she was steaming mad, and she was saying it's a travesty, and she was saying it's typical Chicago politics. You know, they do a lot of corrupt stuff in Chicago, so she was saying this is one on the list.
It might have been the expansion of the transit lines as well. Who knows?
The CTA Red Line Extension Project.
Well, I'll ask you, if somebody took away your family building and their business, and they gave you an excuse, whatever it is, would you like it?
Of course not.
You probably wouldn't,
Of course
right?
not.
Yeah, so, and they can say anything.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they can say anything. So I just want to stress that out. And obviously they didn't work it out, because, things can be worked out. I guess people can be bought out and sold, but maybe they didn't want to. Maybe the price wasn't good, so it's a lot of different aspects.
What was her role at the DNC? Was she able to bring her concerns to the party?
I'm not sure how that worked out. I do believe she was arrested for maybe a protest, but I don't want to just put that out there, But I think she had some trouble because she was protesting, and she was arrested. She was released. But I haven't followed up with her to learn what happened in the interim.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You are also a content creator, and you do want to go behind the scenes of different topics. Could you tell us about that?
Okay, yes. I have a channel on YouTube right now called Swahili TV 100, and I put out a podcast called The Megaphone with Russell Norman. That's myself, and I host it. And I do a lot of interviews and a lot of fun things, besides interviews, interactions with different people and different places. And that was how I did the interview with at the DNC. That was under my banner, The Megaphone, with Russell Norman. And I've recently just interviewed Oscar Award winner and Grammy Award winner Rhymefest. He's a Chicago rapper, a legend. Fred Hampton Jr., whose father was murdered, the chairman of the Black Panther Party. And he is the chairman of the Black Panther Cubs. Dr. Carol Adams, she was the former president of DuSable Museum. Legendary comedian B. Cole, and playwright and artist Dr. Jackie Taylor. So I've had the pleasure of interviewing some great people. So I'm just going to continue doing that and continue delivering more unique content.
So Rhymefest. Rhymefest worked with Kanye West and John Legend.
Yeah, he I believe he helped write Jesus Walks and a lot of other Kanye West hits. He won the Oscar, I think, for writing the title track for Selma with Common and John Legend. Common is another Chicago rapper. And he won that Academy Award for that. So he does a lot of good,
Common does a lot of good in the city of Chicago.
Yeah, he definitely does. And the reason I was interviewing Rhymefest, he's running for school board president.
Okay.
Yep. He's running for school board president this year, and he is trying to make that push. He recently, about 10 years ago, ran for alderman. Yeah, if you remember that. Yeah.
When you do your filmmaking and also content creation, what is your goal? What issues are you trying to address?
Well, if I could pick one issue out that I would say now, it would just have to be human beings treating each other with respect and love, because I think it all starts there. I see different things that I speak on, whether it's police brutality or things that's happening in the neighborhood, like, the crime, like a lot of young black men are just killing each other constantly in these neighborhoods. Things are just going on at random, like we just had a person shoot 4 people on the train. Supposedly the people were sleeping, and he just pumped some bullets in them and walked to the next car and shot another guy. So we got all these, things like mental health, but I think it all starts with how human beings are treating each other. But when I do my content, I speak on all topics. It's whatever comes up. I do have a focus as far as, trying to elevate the mind state, people having knowledge of self and knowing history and instead of regurgitating the same, things we've been doing for years, like the mistakes we've been doing in society as a whole, but you got to sort of break it down.
Let's talk a little bit about the mistakes that the society has been doing. Like what mistakes and what are we doing wrong and what are we ignoring?
Well, look at the pressure, just the whole rat race. Like, for instance, you got things where people are trying to extend the work week or decrease the work week. You got people nowadays, what is it called? Soft quitting, or you got people quiet quitting.
Yeah.
You got people that don't even want to work anymore, right? Which is the other side of the spectrum. It's ridiculous. And then, for instance, we were discussing politics. Look at the 2-party system as far as the Democrat and Republican machine. That's a mistake in society. We haven't corrected that yet. We just had a school shooting. Look at the children. The father bought his son a gun, and he was a known suspect for, or when I say suspect, he was a known like a person of interest that might do something like shoot up his school because he had threats, thinly veiled threats or what have you, and the father bought him a gun. maybe an automatic rifle, and he kills all these kids, things like that. So that's mistakes we see repeated in society over and over and over and over. So those are an example.
But the people that run the society, they're not actually addressing these problems that are happening again and again.
Yeah, that's the point. Yeah.
Even though they promised they would.
I agree.
And so when a politician who's not an elected official is running for public office and they make all these promises, when it comes to the second term coming up, or if they win, you don't see the promises fulfilled.
Never, or rarely, or even to be more specific, rarely have they said. They manipulate, they do double speak, they, fool people, and then over time people forget, and before you know it, it's another, it's something else, another 4 years,
So they're relying on our forgetfulness for the re-election campaign.
Well, yeah, so I see, like, when we talk about the legal field, I see a lot of people who could maybe, let's say, fight their case, people who get railroaded. You see a lot of people, they're getting out of prison, DNA is clearing them, finding out people who was thrown in for murder or rape 50 years ago, they were innocent. Like, that's another mistake that's repeated. But I'm trying to say, like, when you look at it, if you look deeper or if you examine it, you can sort of alleviate these things. You can circumvent it, but it may not be incompetence. It may be complicitness. It seems deliberate. So these things keep happening. We could stop them. You see how we could stop these things. You see how somebody would say, if the police would just raid these high crime areas for weeks straight, they could get rid of crime, right? They say if they control the borders the way we know we can or say we can stop drugs. But come on now, that's not going to happen.
Do you believe that complacency? Do you believe that the people are complacent? Do you believe that the electeds are complacent? Do you believe that
complacent? I said complicit, but also complacent. Yes, also. I do. That's where I was going with it. Like what I was saying about the whole legal field. Like people can fight their case, but they rely on people not having money for lawyers. They don't have money to, actually present a good case. They have public defenders, and they have these people who just continue the cycle, and it never you look at someone and he tells you why he's in jail, and you say, what? You didn't get out of jail? He say, no, I didn't have the money to fight the case, so therefore he's in jail for a long period of time. And I'm not just trying to, say free everybody in prison, but it's a lot of people in prison. That's just an example. And you locking up an innocent man, that's the worst thing you can do.
Well, we've got prisons for profit.
Yeah,
and we've got
definitely.
the prison industrial complex. Do you have an idea of how to help with this issue?
Well, see, that's my point. That's what I meant. It's not just incompetence. It's deliberate. So how could I stop what's been put into place? This type of prison industrial complex has been in place for centuries. The people the families and the people who run it, whether it's the politicians or what have you. But how can you stop that? How can you stop that?
It's too big of a machine.
I won't say it's too big of a machine. I would say whatever God's plan is. So if it's God's plan to stop it, it'll be stopped. Whenever his plan is to stop it. That's the one thing that I say can stop it. It's not just people fighting and rioting and everything. I think it's a higher cause, something that we don't understand. So.
And you also maybe thinking that if the public officials, if they really wanted to address the address this problem. They could, but they don't, and that's why it stays the way it is.
Well, how long have we been having that conversation?
To reform Illinois,
To
prisons.
to reform people in power that are lying to the community, the country, the society. How long? We know what year it is, but how long have we been having these conversations within venues such as this, these type of platforms, these community access and things, people talking about this daily, yearly, monthly, weekly, and nothing's changed. We still talking about it. We still, you could go back 100 years, they were doing it. It's just worse now. So if it's worse, we're trending down, but I'm saying it's increasing. We just had the former president almost get assassinated. Like, we're back to that. You know what I'm saying? When was the last presidential assassination attempt? In the 80s?
Ronald Reagan.
Yeah. So here we are. What, 40 years later? You know what I'm trying to say? And we're back into that type of fervor, that type of insanity.
So it's cyclical. It's just.
Well, no,
it's systemic.
It's systemic. Yep. It's systematic, and it's something that I just don't think is gonna change for the reasons we think it's gonna change. Like, it hasn't changed. So why would we think it's gonna change if it hasn't by now?
We you spoke about racism too. That people ignore that there is racism.
Yes. I was saying earlier, you got these doctors and these scientists, these engineers. They can tell you a dinosaur walked the earth 10 billion years ago. They can look at the rings of a tree, tell you it's thousands of years old, but they can't look at the country in America and tell you that it's racism against black people or Asian people or Latino people or whatever, so it's a lie. There's a lie being perpetuated, and people are eating it up. They're brainwashed.
The status quo does not want these problems to be resolved. The status quo wants to be stay the status quo.
It seems that way. That's the biggest, takeaway
So
in my mind.
this is big money propelled, people at the top. They're very comfortable.
Yeah, I see it. I think we already have established in general that people make money off of wars. Like, these countries, these private entities, they make a profit, off of prisons, war, pain, trauma. Drugs, of course. Drugs is the number one.
Mm-hmm. So when you made your films, did you have all this context as you made the film? Or I know that probably one film won't change the world, but however, what do you apply this context to your films?
Yeah, I do. It's sort of a slice of life when it comes to, me and what I've been through, my experiences as any writer. I'm a writer, director, and a producer, and an actor. And, so when I make content, it is focused on what I've seen, what I've experienced. I've experienced a lot of racism towards myself. I believe it's changed me, and of course not for the better, but it's one of those growing pains that a black man such as myself has to go through in America, and everybody has their cross to bear, so I'm not complaining. It's just a fact. And, my content will reflect some of those things, but I don't believe that my content has to reflect those things. Mm-hmm. I believe as an artist that I can make something that has no pain, racism, story, backstory. It doesn't have to as an artist. Mm-hmm. Now, some people, they try to escape the responsibility or the accountability by not focusing on things, and then some people do it way too much. It's like, if you see a movie, it's going to be about racism if it's that director, or if it's this director, it's going to be about et cetera, et cetera. So I don't want to be pigeonholed. I don't want to be the the artist that's just gonna talk about the black pain and the racist stuff or the hood stuff, but I want to be somebody that's all encompassing and talk about everything.
What is the film that helped you win that award from the DuSable Museum, the Black Filmmaker Excellence Award?
Yes, the African American Arts Association Award for Outstanding Film of the Year. It's called Hell Ain't Full, and it's a story about two guys coming up in the hood, and it's a cautionary tale about what can go wrong. The guys, they're living fast and loose. They're getting high, they're drinking, they're taking advantage of women, they're taking advantage of people, their family, etc., and they go off into a path of destruction. So that's what the film is about. It does have those things where I discuss racism, how people look down on each other. I have a thing in a film about police brutality or just how black people stand out, but the other crime gets overlooked. It's like we're focusing on this, one demographic. And I cover a lot of topics through the dialogue. So it's just about growing up in Chicago and how I've seen a lot of people go on a path of destruction. So it's really like me looking at people that I grew up with, that I know. I'm taking some pieces of me in there, and it just, that whole ritual of growing up in the hood.
How were you able to escape that path? You are definitely not on that path of destruction.
Well, I'm on another path of destruction, and it's called Hollywood. No, I'm just kidding. But, I gotta be honest with you. So, my mom, who raised me right with love, she taught me how to avoid a lot of the bull crap and not be a part of the crowd when going towards that. But I was gonna say, I still live in Chicago. I feel like I might still be on a path to destruction somehow. We all are. You too, guys. You too. Because like we're all in it together, and I just mean on this planet. And tell me, raise your hand if you think Chicago has gotten worse. You get what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And like when we leave this building, we, got our head on a swivel.
So these kind of stories have very tragic endings.
I'm still in the hood. Mm-hmm. I'm still in a black neighborhood with a high crime rate. I still see hookers, winos, crackheads, drug dealers, killers, crooked cops. I see that every day. Mm-hmm. No joke.
They're children.
Children and older adults, just across the board. Men, women, black, white, Mexican, whatever it is. Venezuelan, I see it. You know what I'm saying? So I'm still in the neighborhood. So that's what I mean. Like, it's like I haven't escaped anything. I mentally, you free your mind and your butt will follow. So you got to free your mind from those type of constraints. But yeah, I'm still living on the south side of Chicago, so I still feel I'm in the frying pan, unfortunately.
Do you have hope? And if you had a wish
No. Please continue.
Yeah, if you had a wish to actually right all these wrongs, what would it be?
Okay, so yeah, I was just being facetious. I do have hope, but it might be metered. You got to manage your expectations. So if I could, it'd be like when I was saying the focus about just sort of basic human kindness. I think we got to start there because, look, you don't have that anymore. That's not really a part of society anymore. Everybody has this whole mentality to cut off people. Somebody might make you mad in your family. Cut them off. You don't need that. They try to perpetuate how to get people out of your life, which you have to do sometimes. But you can't get rid of your mama. You can't get rid of your son. Some people, I seen some celebrities, who was it? Monique, maybe, her son. And he, insulted her 50 Cent, his son. People like, cut him off. That's your son. You can't cut your son off.
Russell Norman, we're almost out of time. If our viewers want to learn more about you, where should they go?
Please go to @RussellNorman77, Instagram, Twitter, @RussellNorman77, Swahili TV 100 on YouTube.com, Swahili TV 100, and you can check out The Megaphone with Russell Norman. Google that. Do your Googles.
This is Bill Morton, President of the Rogers Park Chamber of Commerce, and I am Trudy Leong, Administrator of the Rogers Park Chamber of Commerce. Thank you so much, Russell Norman, for joining us on Community Unity Now, the D Tycoon Show. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you again next week.